is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Tuesday, 31st October 2023. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. Her Excellency President Christine Kangaloo has signed and issued legal notice number 358, which has called out 100 volunteer Defense Force personnel for 123 days for the pre-Christmas inter-carnival period. The reason given under Section 238(1) of the Defense Force Act, Chapter 1401, is to provide support to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. The orders are to run from October 30th, 2023 to February 29th, 2024. This, while murders continue unabated in the country. The latest victims, 3 men killed in Arima yesterday afternoon. The victims ID'd as Andrew Rose, 57, Lance Hill, 30, and 46-year-old Troy Marcel Colden. Police said officers received a report of a shooting near La Jaha Junction, Blanchisseuse Road in Arima at around 4:50 p.m. Arima Police and Northern Division officers visited the scene and found a burgundy Toyota Corolla on the side of the road with 3 bodies inside. Officers said Rose was slumped behind the driver's seat. Hill was in the front passenger side, while Caldon was found in the back seat. The trio had gunshot wounds about their bodies. A district medical officer visited the scene and declared the men dead. Crime scene investigators found 25 spent 9mm shells at the scene. The vehicle was towed to the Special Evidence Recovery Unit in Komoto for further analysis. This latest murder after 4 men were murdered in Belmont on Sunday night. The business community says co-owner of Bhagwan Singh's Hardware and Steel Industries Limited, Helen Bhagwan Singh, will always be remembered for her courage, bravery, passion, magnanimity, and personality. A problem solver, a decision maker, a communicator, a risk taker, an exemplar, and a role model in sections in which she was active. Mrs. Bhagwan Singh reportedly passed away on Sunday night at the age of 83. She was inducted into the TT Chamber Business Hall of Fame in November of 2010. In 2011, she was bestowed with the country's highest national award, the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. In recognition of her outstanding community service, she was also conferred with an honorary Doctor of Laws from UAE St. Augustine campus in the same year. And UAE said Mrs. Bhagwan Singh stood out as a predominantly male-dominated business realm, not only just as a woman, but as an icon who redefined the norms of entrepreneurship. UAE said she carved a niche that will inspire generations to come. It said her contributions were not limited to the realm of business. Government is seeking to increase the stock of state-owned properties, which its ministries and agencies can occupy. This in a bid to cut down rental costs. The move will be done via building and acquiring properties. Public Admin Minister Alistair West told reporters at a news conference yesterday that the government is also seeking to establish a storage facility outside of Port of Spain to store excess paper as the process of digitalization continues. The fourth tranche of approved ministers' permits granted to Venezuelan nationals in TNT who registered under the Migrant Registration Framework will be ready for collection with effect from today, Tuesday. Issued of the approved ministers' permits will be conducted from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Enforcement Unit, 135 Henry Street in Port of Spain. Persons will be required to present their previously issued registration card to be updated, validated, and identification. In news of the region, the Jamaica Public Service says it's working to restore power supply to some customers impacted by the 5.6 earthquake felt across Jamaica yesterday morning. JPS says the company is still in the process of evaluating the full extent of damage to its power distribution network. However, it said initial assessments still revealed damage to several transmission and distribution lines, which resulted in the automatic shutdown of at least 1 substation and 2 generating plants as part of the system's built-in protection mechanisms. Finally, the BBC says General Motors is to strike a tentative pay deal with the United Auto Workers Union, which would clear the way for resolution of a bruising 6-week strike in the United States. The deal follows agreements at Ford and Chrysler maker Stellantis and other 2 car makers affected by the walkout. Nearly 50,000 workers and dozens of sites were eventually involved in the action, the first union's history to target all 3 firms at the same time. U.S. President Joe Biden welcomed this new deal. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
my neighbors, and welcome to the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. Of course, the R's are in this morning. We just heard from Paul Richards. We'll hear from Richard Ragabarra saying we got Ruben in the mix. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. Let's get straight into the meat of the matter, see what's happening weather and traffic-wise on this Tuesday, the last day of October, the 31st day, also known as Halloween. All right, so let's get straight into it. Got a little traffic heading towards Piarco Lights, then Trin City towards Pagy. I've got traffic. After that, a little volume passing through by the interchange and Clare coming into Port of Spain. Of course, heading San Fernando, got nothing to tell you about, nothing on the Solo. You will pick up some traffic just after Freeport heading towards Sugar Guanas. That's beginning to build. And then Charleville, a little volume as you head towards the interchange. Checking what our weather is going to be like. It's a warm one already. It is 27 degrees at Piarco International Airport, 26 at Crown Point in Tobago. And let's take a look and see if the Met Services have updated their weather forecast. They have not, but they said yesterday that sunrise will likely be interrupted by a few partly cloudy spells with showers over a few areas. It's a medium, 40% chance of isolated thunderstorm activity. All right. Maximum forecast for today will be 33 at Piarco and 32 in Crown Point. Taking some time across our listenership. Let's start out in Toronto. You're at 0 degrees in Toronto. Cold one already. Miami, you're at 24 and Clare. Orlando, same and 20. New York, clouds with 8 degrees. Miami, Atlanta, you're at 10 and cloudy. Partly cloudy and 11 in London. Tampa, you're clear and 20. Washington, D.C., 8 with some clouds. And Los Angeles, all listener out there, 14 degrees and clear. All right, that's some temps. Right, so let's bring the guys in. Let's say good morning to you, Paul Richards. What's happening?
Morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Good Tuesday morning to you. Final day of October.
Final day.
2 months of the year 2023 going by fast.
Yep.
I don't know.
55 days to Christmas.
I don't know.
Yeah, 55. Let's say good morning, good out to Wendy and James, Garth Cillian, Valencia, Oliver Manwaran, D. Pierre, out in New York. He says it's a chilly morning out in New York. Trinity Boston, Carol Guevara, Karen Yipnow, Carol Joseph, good morning to you. Marcia Rock, always locked on. DJ Ray out in Delaware. Wayne B out in Covington, Georgia. Brenda Isaac, Dennis Passad, Riri out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Gloria Gray, Rennie Mohammed. Good morning to you guys. Thanks for sending us a message via YouTube and or Facebook. Thank you so much. We love that.
Well, that's happening.
Yeah, lots
happening. Her Excellency President Kangaroo. I got a copy of a legal notice issued last night.
Yeah, sorry, this morning.
Which enacted part of the Defense Force Act, Chapter 1401, Section 238(1), where the president, under his or her opinion, looking at the situation in the country, can, the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. It's just can't, let me just read it, let me read it verbatim. And it says a proclamation. It was issued last night, legal notice number 358. Whereas Section 238(1) of the Defense Force Act, Chapter 1401, provides inter alia that the president may call out volunteer defense force for any portion of actual military service with their arms and ammunition in the aid of civil power, and in case a riot, disturbance of the peace, or emergency requiring such service occurs, or is of the opinion of the president anticipated is likely to occur, and in either case to be beyond the powers of the civil authorities to suppress or to prevent, to deal with, and whereas the president deems it necessary to call out to duty 100 members of the Trinidad Tobago Volunteer Defense Force to strengthen the TNT Defense Force capability toward the fulfillment of operational support for the Trinidad Tobago Police Service, the provision of a safe and secure environment during the pre-Christmas to 2024 Carnival period. It runs from yesterday to February 29th. The question is, will it make a difference? That could be our question this morning. Because after the 4 men were killed in Belmont, and I have a video of that to share, I'll warn the audience, it's very graphic.
Yeah.
Very graphic. So I'll warn you.
In 24 hours in Paul, there was the 4 in
Belmont. If you're not in the mood for that kind of graphic, I would advise you to not look at that.
Yeah. So there's 4 in Belmont, 3 in Blanchisez, and 1 in Diego Martin.
Yeah.
All within 24 hours.
Yep.
The video out of Belmont that you're going to share it's quite graphic. Viewer discretion is advised.
My bad.
But it's, I mean, talking to some folks yesterday, and they're just saying 8 and 24 hours. It's, I don't know what to say again. Can this crime be fixed?
The fact the president, Her Excellency the President, is not going to issue that sort of proclamation without consultation with the National Security Minister and the Prime Minister. Okay? Understand? It means that they clearly feel the present configuration is not working, and more drastic measures are needed. So,
more. We need to be drastic measures for sure.
So I don't know. We'll see if this helps.
Yeah.
I hope it does, but it's not the first time the police will be working with the TT Defense Force.
No, it's not.
And as I said before, we'll see how it goes. But I mean, I'm trying to have to convert the file format of the video. So.
Yeah, but that is it's I don't know, can this be fixed? Someone was telling me last night all these children are fighting, and is this the way we're going to go, and is it going to get worse with this next generation that's coming in? And
why keep people blaming the next generation? I never understand that.
That's what they're saying.
When people blame the next generation, I just shake my head. And I shake my head because who give birth to and raise the next generation?
Exactly.
I never understand this blaming the next generation as if they're responsible for raising themselves and turning themselves into monsters. Some of them anyway, a few of them. You understand?
Yeah, but oh my God.
As if they raise the self. They make the self and they raise the self. You understand? So it's they raise themselves and they get up one morning and they're bad. I've told my friends over and over, it's our generation, give birth to them and raise them. You understand? Our generation, give birth to them and raise them. We are the ones who fail them. And then they say, well, you can make the child, but you can't make the mind. Actually, you can.
That is crap, yeah.
Actually, you can. So I don't buy that nonsense. So that perspective, I don't buy that at all. We is who didn't do what we're supposed to do with them. We, our generation. Okay, our generation is who failed many of them, and they continue to fail them. Remember that generation called the barrel children. Remember that generation?
Barrel children.
God, Steve. This morning.
No, I haven't. I've never heard that talk before. Barrel
children who were raised when their parents left in the 70s and 80s to go to the US, left them with their grandparents in many cases, and just sent back barrels of foodstuff and clothes.
I got you. Yeah, I've never heard that term before.
Barrel children, they call it. Well, this generation, some of this generation had to be the party children then because we were just partying while they were doing. So this is the video. Again, it is very
Viewer
graphic.
discretion is
The,
advised.
the video shows some people liming on the street in Belmont and a car pulling up, a black car, and men are lighting and shooting the men. They fell to the ground and the men went after them after they fell to the ground and pumped more bullets into them. Again, it is very graphic. If you are not able to handle this, it may be a trigger for some people. Please, you may look away for the next minute or so. All right? Please be guided accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anybody say I didn't warn you. It's very graphic.
There we go. Lyman outside a house.
And it's just so the 4 people are there, 4 men are there.
4
Car
men,
pulls up.
SUV. I don't know.
So he goes back and finishes them off, just in case they're alive. This one goes back and he goes back and shoots the guy in front now and they keep firing shots. Huh? No, if that is not something out of a horror movie, what is?
He was a good boy.
I don't even think in these cases there's anybody to say that. I doubt there's anyone to say that in those cases.
Well, let's see if the TPS could.
Well, in similar fashion, 3 were gunned down. They found the bodies of 3 in a car in Arima, Blanche says. Road.
Yeah.
Similarly, you know. So I don't know what to say. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if it's gang related, you know. And well, the people that still, those 4 men who jump out of that car and shot those guys are still at large. In the video, I don't know if you saw, I'll play it again, but what is also said, because a friend of mine said that one of the people who were killed, the 23-year-old, his grandfather was outside. And when I went back and looked at the video, you saw the old man walking out behind the car. In the back.
Mm-hmm.
So he clearly wasn't the target. These men were clearly targeted because they didn't shoot. Thank God they didn't shoot the old man. You can look at it again and see how the old man is slowly making his way to safety behind the cars in the background, in the 2 cars, and went into the gate. They said he's actually so traumatized now. You know? And you don't know if this is friend or foe or if somebody was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're right. You know?
As the old man crossing the road.
But did the guy in white put up his hand to stop, to beg them, or to fire back or something? But the old man going behind the car there.
Yeah. Goes into his yard. Because they were all outside there.
It's so disturbing. Oh, Lord, Father. So the question is, if this additional 100 volunteers from the TTPS is enough, or even if it's enough, will it make a difference?
Mm-hmm. I don't think 100. How much is 123? You said
100 for 123 days.
All right, so there we go. I don't think that's enough.
Well, quite frankly, I don't want to turn the country into a military state with soldiers all over the place.
No,
What
but
is enough? And what do you think is enough?
let's use the Trinidad. Is it for Trinidad and Tobago? It's Trinidad and Tobago.
No,
It's
I get the impression it's for Trinidad, but it's still for Trinidad and Tobago. But the issue is in Trinidad. The issue is not in Tobago.
Yeah, I don't
And
know how.
I don't know what when you say 100 is enough. What does that mean?
No, I said 100 may not be enough.
Okay, and what may be enough if you think 100 may not be enough, and based on what?
No, I just think we need more. 2 people in Mayaro, 2 people in Manzanilla, 2 people in Toko. I'm just saying, you have 30 in South, 40 in Port of Spain and environ.
Only random numbers, not put them in spaces.
All right, Paul, leaving that alone.
No, but you made a statement. I don't know. I'm sure.
I said I do not think 100 people,
okay,
100
army people. And I hear you. And then if 100
not
is
enough.
200,
I am concerned with the whole army should come out. I don't care if we be in a military.
The whole army should come out now. Okay. Bring out the whole army. I don't agree with that statement.
No, I say bring it out. We are in desperate need of fixing this crime situation. We're in terrible need. And bring out 100 people. This is my point.
So bring out the
It's
whole
not
army.
going to be enough. Bring the army out.
Okay.
Bring out the army. Let's get this crime situation under control. Let's get all these cameras repaired urgently.
Let's open the phones and let's hear what the audience says.
Yeah, bring out the entire army as far as I'm concerned.
Steve's perspective is bring out the entire army, and I disagree with that. Let's hear what you want to say.
I don't care if the military state or whatever. We have a serious situation. 8 people have died in 24 hours.
8255. So,
right? So
let's
call
hear
us
what you think.
222-8255. Toll free North Americans. 866-525-1099. You think 100 members of the army is enough? We have calls coming through. Good morning.
Morning, gentlemen. How is everyone? Everyone is great, I hope.
Big guy,
Good
what's
morning.
going on? I'm okay. Yeah, I've been looking at these. I think there was another shooting Friday night, which 3 people got killed also. But my thing is not just boots on the ground. It's how you use these people. You can have 5,000 people on the ground. If you don't use them correctly, it will make no sense. There's more brain than brawn needed right now to capture these criminals. You know, that's my take on it. All right, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, big guy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I am a radicalist. I tell everyone that associates with me, I wake up every morning and choose violence. However, bringing out the army needs special consideration. We need to understand what we're doing. We need to understand what we're asking for, because without a state of emergency, the army is powerless, it's toothless. And in a state of emergency, a lot of people go dead. So we need to be careful what we ask for. But to answer your question, Steve, I believe the army with no restraints would make a significant difference to the guns on the streets.
What does that mean? No restraints. What do you mean by that?
Without having to go with police.
Well, no, the law doesn't allow for that.
Yeah, the law does not allow that.
Army can't execute arrests.
Understand what I'm saying? Without a state of emergency, the army is limited to move with police. However, within a state of emergency, the army can move by itself. And if you let the army go into these areas by themselves, trust me, we will get a lot of guns, we'll get a lot of criminals off the streets. All right? But there are consequences to those decisions. That's all I'm saying. Have a good day, gentlemen.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Morning, Sonny.
Yeah, Steve, I agree with you. You know, it's hopeless. It seems hopeless in and around areas. Like I do sales and deliveries and stuff on the road,
Mm-hmm.
and you see like deep south and stuff like that. Was doing a delivery for someone like I wouldn't say late, like 6 o'clock. And when I went, the entire area just locked down. Everybody locked up. People had extra chains on the gate. Apart from the lock on the gate, they had an extra chain with a lock. And
Mm-hmm.
I personally know a friend in San Francisco. Her home was invaded. Just she and her mother, elderly mother, lives in the place. Was invaded in September, mid-September, and then again the first week in October. And the people literally brought a van and offloaded everything they had: microwave, refrigerator, and they took everything. And these people they don't know what to do. They can't. Who will buy the house now? Knowing everybody in the village knowing that they was broken into twice, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like 4 and 5 guys. And there are two things. While it looks hopeless and thing, it's still some good because simultaneously with all this madness that happening now, last week we had thousands of people graduating from UE. We're out of hard work over the last 3 years. My daughter graduated Friday with
Congratulations.
in criminology and criminal science. She did her first degree in criminology and criminal science, and she did her master's now. And it's a lot of hard work by both students and parents, you know. So is the problem we have, as Paul said, is the same other parents that not doing their job, not seeing, I make my child, but I make them mine. No, you're supposed to influence it. You're supposed to stay them. When they're growing up, don't give them any free time. Have them doing extracurricular activities.
But Guy, first of all, congratulations to you and your daughter and your family, right?
Yeah.
But as you said, that takes sacrifice. You can't be partying every weekend and Lyman.
I can't remember the last time I
As a
party.
parent, that doesn't come without a huge amount of sacrifice on behalf of the family, the parents in particular. But there's a generation of us who were not prepared to do that.
I don't know, but it seems hopeless because in where I live in San Fernando off of SS Erie Road. So from San Fernando heading to DB, I live where the best doubles and Sahina and stuff live. So
Mm.
so if
Hungry
you
man.
want to enjoy that, you have to come there. I live off of that road, and during the day, people are around the house, people walking. A lot of people walking in hot sun right now, you know. Not in the evening and not in the morning anymore. And as you see 5, 5:30 come, everybody come in the house and lock up.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
If you pass around 7, you would feel like it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
But where I work, they kind of go back in about 8 o'clock. There are a lot of people, and fortunately, I have to commend it. Always is a police patrol in the Samoa area. There's always a police
Mm-hmm.
patrol around the savannah, and people are exercising and walking and just spending time with their children. Sometimes up to 6. So the police patrol helps, you
Well,
know.
the
But you're
neighborhood
right. At
having
8 o'clock,
a
it's
security
like a ghost town.
to drive around. Everyone came together in our neighborhood and hired, put up money and hired a security. They do patrols every 20 minutes. You see from inside your room, you could see the flashing lights passing. Everybody, you had to see because a lot of people got robbed in the area last year, and everybody came together and put it up. But
Mm-hmm.
if you go penal Barrapo, 6 o'clock. Yeah, not long ago, people liming like all now. Yeah, a lot of people liming. You passed DB 8 o'clock long ago. Tons of people waiting. Now some of the places close up 5:30. Maybe you might just have 1 or 2 vendors opening till 8, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody else 5:30 they close up.
You want to start to get dark, people closing up now.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Imagine drugstores closing 6 o'clock. Drugstores used to open till 10.
Yeah, everybody closing up early now.
So
I've noticed that.
Bringing the army is a good move, but I hope it's thing. But
it needs management, and if you bring out the
all
army,
I say is if it will help, because the source is the lack of.
You know, bringing out the army is a stopgap measure.
They need to bring out the army eagles too.
It is a radical intervention, but it is not the long-term solution.
It's not a long-term solution.
Yeah,
we need to have a long-term.
The authorities had a meeting yesterday over the weekend and said, you know, based on what they see happening, if they don't continue, we're going to surpass 605 of last year. You know?
Well, I'm putting in a plug for my daughter. My daughter applied to national security, so hopefully they hire her and she could give them some advice. Anyway, guys, keep up with the good work. But all is not lost. We had thousands of people graduate Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it's still good happening.
Yeah, there are a lot of good happening.
It seems hopeless. But if you notice, I read between the last 2 weeks, a good bit of chunk of the people that got killed were on bail. So I don't know if that's probably.
I do believe the individual who was killed in Diego Martin
was on bail.
Was on bail.
Was killed over the weekend too.
Some puppy guy, yeah.
Yeah, he was on bail too for arms and ammunition. So I mean, we need to tighten up. The government and the opposition need to work together, try and plug some holes.
Well, and I will say it again. So we're bringing out 100 volunteer defense force to provide support to the TT police service. We have a crime problem that is burgeoning, and the Prime Minister is not leading the crime talks. How? Is that counterintuitive to you?
It doesn't look good.
It's not. That is just so counterintuitive to me. Whatever. And he's on record last Thursday saying, this is not about personality. This is about dealing with the issue. You are the head of the country, executive head of the country. You are the head of the National Security Council, and you are not leading the crime talks with the opposition with a view to try to come to some sort of common ground to see some plans to deal with this issue. I just don't understand the optics of that. It's just really off to me. Really off.
Thanks, Sonny.
Okay, take care.
All right. So many. Today is the start of a new day. And some imps is going to get off his bed and say, all right, we're going to kill this one. We're going to kill that one. We have a job to do. Whatever the case, however they phrase it.
Someone messaged me. I don't know how true it is. Or if there's any validity to it, but this person usually is on point and is suggesting that some of these issues are in relation to the killing of some DJ recently.
That's what Inspector Alexander said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the DJ is known to be associated with criminal elements, or was known to be associated with criminal elements. Is that the suggestion? Mm-hmm. Because if people are willing to retaliate by killing people in groups on his behalf, then it's a terrible indictment on him. I don't know the person at all, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't know.
I don't know. We need to we need to work on so many things in this country, but we run at snail's pace.
And beauty culture, you're absolutely right.
She is absolutely right.
But let me just put it up so people can see.
Right. Oh yeah. No,
you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right in that regard. And they talk about it, and then it's a set of promises, and it never materializes in any sustainable way. We are not even going to bring up the topic about body cameras again. Let's not go into that.
Not even going there.
The CCTV camera maintenance system. There's so much technology. I always spoke about 2 years ago when I went to Florida. The technology they're using, if a gunshot is fired in a part of Florida. Morning, Richard.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Richard.
In Florida. they have a system of audio devices all over that city that they can tell where the bullet was fired, the direction the bullet went, just by the technology they're using. And the moment the bullet is fired, resources are deployed. That's how advanced they are. When I was in London a couple of weeks ago, there was a big uproar over a new law that was passed to augment the extensive CCTV camera system in the UK, in London in particular, with AI technology that can instantly do facial recognition and know who is what, where, in particular traffic violations, but other crimes also. How you could get to that if you can't maintain 1,700 CCTV cameras? How you could get to that if it's a problem to make police wear body cams on the street and necessary excuses? How you could get to that if you ordering scanners to be replaced on the port when the scanner become obsolete? After the scanner obsolete, how you guys get to that? You understand? And
Preach, Paul, preach.
yes, lip sillies. We don't have to be the UK to implement technology. This thing that you have to be 200 years old in a country to use technology that's available now is a non-starting argument for me. So we have to be the UK and the US to have CCTV cameras operational or body cams. We have to be the US and the UK for that.
Absolutely not.
Really? We just now start to use links machine in licensing and customs 2-3 years ago. We have to be the UK and the US for that. People really think a little of ourselves in this country.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you saw the video that we've been playing this morning.
No, I did. Which video is that?
The one I sent you.
In Belmont. The Belmont murders?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Very sad and cruel.
Guy is saying it's a shot spotter. Yeah. And we went for a tour of the police, and the commissioner was telling us about the technology they were using, including that shot spotter thing, so that if a shot is fired anywhere in the city, somebody doesn't have to tell them. They know. But
you remember when Jack Warner was Minister of National Security, he mentioned that they were going to get that shot spotter technology, etc., and then it went out the window.
Yeah.
I remember him talking about that.
The personalized ID plates for cars. Yeah, with the
RFID plates.
The RFID plates. Which is a
yes,
talk.
That was coming. That is about, I don't want to lie, was that 3 budgets ago?
Yeah.
It was either 3 budgets
the ones that come back all the time are the body cams, the CCTV cameras over and over. And then something will happen. Remember the pepper spray, the big hoopla about pepper spray?
Yeah, and they still have no regulations, yeah?
No, they are issuing them. They move past that. The regulations have been issued, but it's like, as you always say, jumping through hoops to get it. So I actually asked a question for answer coming up just now about how many have been issued, how many have been applied for and things. So you have to wait until it come up to find out, because apparently it's a secret. You understand? So you have to go through channels to get it.
Which it's easier to get a gun then. Or it's not.
Well, you make a joke about it, but it seems so. And I remember when the Andrew Barrett and the young lady from Samoa were killed under those horrible circumstances. And the big parliament come together to pass pepper spray law and debate for 2 days, and
they will protest and stuff.
And then it takes forever to get it operationalized.
Yeah.
You understand? The electronic monitoring thing that I have some data on is like, I just shake my head. It's like, it's only about 46 active. After all of that, after you go through days of debate, it's like, it's like, I don't know. You have papers?
No, I don't. Sorry. We have an implementation crisis in this country.
I think it's more than that. We have a will to get it fixed, that crisis. We have more than an implementation crisis, because it's implement other things when they want. Okay? It's implement what they want to implement very fast. Okay?
Yeah.
We have a will to get it done crisis. Anyway, it's October 31st. If you are celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday, in spite of everything you're alive. So let's start with the express for today. 8 murdered. 8 men were slain between Sunday night and yesterday. Among the multiple killings, 4 friends in Belmont and 3 in Blanchisseuse. There's also 1 killing in Diego Martin outside in the car park of Super Farm. West, no corruption in the $55 million rental deal involving the Park Street property, which was rented to the DPP, or for the DPP, sorry. Republic Bank clients worried. Let me dive a little deeper into that. Unexplained charges to credit card. Over the weekend, unauthorized transactions were attempted on some of Republic Bank's credit cards. The bank's group marketing and communication general manager, Karen Tom Jardine, confirmed yesterday. However, Tom Jardine is assuring customers the issue is unrelated to the situation Republic Bank credit card customers faced earlier this month when transactions were duplicated over discrepancies and refunds at the price match issue. So another issue at Republic Bank. TNT's shrinking middle class. Central Bank continues probe. So let's move now to the Newsday. AmCham TT celebrates Bhagwan Singh's huge contribution. Heritage invests $1.7 million in scholarships. TSTT on ransomware attack. Hackers tried but failed, so TSTT is denying that the attack was successful. West public service improvements coming. We'll just pause after that.
What she said? What kind of improvements coming?
Public service improvements coming.
Okay.
Like a movie trailer. It's coming. 3 survivors in deadly shooting at Carapachama Wake doing well. Oh yes, we had that Carapachama shooting last week. Businesswoman Helen Bhagwan Singh has died. Cosplayers shine at inaugural Trinidad Tobago Comic-Con. Venezuela continues Essequibo referendum plans. Trinis win their first episode of Family Feud in Canada. UWI St. Augustine Sport Faculty has historic first cohort. AmCham celebrates business titan Helen Bhagwan Singh. Girl 5 critical after being locked in car. Ooh, a morning and a half. Let's go to the Guardian. 4 friends gunned down in Belmont. Father of 1 victim lucky to escape bullets. Cops shut down 3 restaurants, 2 casinos. Isn't that yesterday? Gypsy unhappy with Tobago Carnival product. Helen Bhagwan Singh has passed away. 5-year-old critical after being left in hot car for hours. Pharmacy boss blames antiquated laws for seizures. And those are your trending stories. 3 killed in Arima ambush. And murder accused killed outside pharmacy. So those are trending stories.
But the 3 killed in Arima ambush is the Blanchisseuse they're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trending stories in your Express, Guardian, and Newsday for today, October 31st, 2023.
Blanchisseuse isn't really Arima, but it's in the constituency of Arima.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's
really Arima. And people in Blanchisseuse don't say I'm Arimian. So that's a little misnomer, you know. I don't know what to call it.
Rena Jennings is obsessed with the bail bill, but Rena, you could go and do some research and see how many people were actually granted bail, and also for murder, that is, and also how successful was it when it was actually active for 3 years. Go and do your research. Come back. I like to grab onto these talking points.
Let's see the results of our morning poll from yesterday. Of course, yesterday we asked you, should Customs and Excise be under the Ministry of National Security? That was our poll yesterday. Results online, 71%, 71 said yes.
So the suggested question this morning, based on, let me just read the story for context. Her Excellency President Christine Kangaloo has signed and issued legal notice number 358, which has called out 100 volunteer Defense Force personnel for 123 days for the pre-Christmas and the carnival period. The reason given under Section 238(1) of the Defense Force Act, Chapter 1401, is to provide support to the TTPS. The orders run from October 30th, 2023, yesterday, to February 29th, 2024. So I'm suggesting a question. Do you think the 100 volunteer Defense Force personnel supporting the TTPS will make a difference in the crime situation? Are you all guys okay with that?
Yeah. Why are they calling it volunteer though?
I don't know. Maybe that's the term they have to use according to the act.
As a proclamation.
Okay.
Or maybe they can't command them to work with the police. I don't know what the nuance is. You understand?
So do you think that is going to make any difference?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So 222-8255, North Americans, toll-free number, 866-525-1099. Of course, you tell us yes or no. We like to know where you're messaging us from as well. All right. So our morning poll, once again, as Paul puts it up, do you think the 100 volunteer Defense Force personnel will make a difference in arresting the crime situation in TNT?
Of course, this is for the period of Christmas into Carnival.
Yeah.
For when they'll be, I want to say mandated, but afraid because they have the word volunteer there. But they will be on the streets assisting the police. Let's put it that way. So do you think it's going to make a difference in arresting the crime situation in TNT over the Christmas to into Carnival period? So many murders in such a short time. Like the murders are just not stopping. It's incredulous. And you would like to see, you would like to know that the police are arresting people out of these things. So you're taking these people off the street. But 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. People on the web and the app, you can send your votes via the comment section on the YouTube stream. And of course, our other streams on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
That number missing a zero. No.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Guys, I have a thing. First of all, Richard.
Yes.
I am convinced when a word is too hard to spell, they just look for the closest area next to that they could spell. Right? Blanchishes was too difficult to spell, so they put a rima. They do it a lot of time in Chagonas. When something happened in Londonville, they just put Enterprise.
Like Abercrombie Street.
Yes. Right?
Yeah, answer to the poll.
Sorry. The poll, I didn't even hear the poll.
Do you think the 100 volunteer Defense Force personnel will make a difference in arresting the crime situation?
No, I don't. I don't. Just a straight answer. I will explain when they'll take explanations.
Alrighty. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Sandy Grandy. My answer is no. And permit me to wish my daughter Laurie happy birthday today.
All right,
happy birthday, Laurie.
All right, let's see. Karen Yip now says no. Morning, Marva Williams. Gloria Gray says yes. CJ New York says no. No, says Mo Gaines. Good morning, Lorna. Indy, Kali, no. Julia S. Batiste says no. Let me see if I missed any. Good morning, Beauty Culture, Trinidad Margot, Carlisle Cupid. Rena Bodu Jennings, good morning. Guy Small, Beefy Smith, good morning. Roger T. Donna Lee Ling, good morning. Lester Craigwell.
So do you think the 100 volunteer Defense Force personnel will make a difference in arresting the crime situation in TNT? The president has signed a proclamation saying that they will be active from October 30th to February
29th.
29th. Oh, tomorrow's next year's leap year, is it? Do you think the 100 volunteer defense force personnel will make a difference in arresting the crime situation in TNT? What's your opinion?
Julia S. Batiste says no. Mrs. R says yes. The Bonzel, yes, absolutely, from the U.S. Carol Guevara says no. Guy Small says no. Cynthia Ramsroop says no. Slick Money Grip says yes to the poll. 222-8255. Toll free. North Americans 866-525-1099. Our poll once again. Yes or no? Do you think the 100 volunteer defense force personnel will make a difference in arresting the crime situation in TNT? All right. Yes or no? Send us a message. Okay.
Everybody's shouting at me, sorry. I forgot to send her revised news.
So 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans 866-525-1099. People on the web and app, send your votes via our stream on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. We'll get it right here. Do you think the 100 volunteer defense force personnel will make a difference in arresting the crime situation in TNT?
Yeah.
I see Wendell is saying that he doesn't know if the VDF is different to the TTDF.
Well, V is for volunteer. I don't know.
I have no clue.
Maybe they have different divisions.
Wayne B says yes. Yeah. Thanks, Wayne B. Josie Richardson says yes is my answer. Thank you so much.
What Wayne B said.
Yes.
So do you think that 100 volunteer defense force personnel will make a difference in arresting the crime situation in TNT? From the period the 30th of October to the 29th of February 2024.
Currently, I think why stipulated period, because it can be indefinite according to the law. It's almost an emergency situation. It's like a state of emergency. It's not a state of emergency, but it's a long and similar application. So you can't have it for an indefinite amount of time. It has to be for a specified period, because it's not a normal circumstance.
Is it that the Ministry of National Security, did the president do this proclamation on her own, or she obviously consulted?
I didn't know when she called me for tea, I'll ask her.
Okay, please do, and get back to us. That's the day, right? You all have tea every day, not so?
No, tomorrow, Wednesdays.
Okay.
Susie B says no, they should start off with 200. Beauty Culture says yes.
I think today's the Prime Minister's Day. You know? My day is Wednesday for tea. When I go tomorrow, I'll dress up and I'll ask her. Richard Ragubasi, you know him? Yes, ma'am, Madam President. Excellency. Ask if you were consulted on this by the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security. Or I can ask the Prime Minister when we meet on Thursday before cabinet meeting.
And when you're meeting with Minister, and when you're meeting with the National Security Council?
On Saturday.
Saturday, okay. That's a working lunch.
And the Law Association on Sunday.
Oh, jeez, and ages.
Okay.
222-8255. Toll free North Americans 866.
Thank you to come and do this in the morning.
Do you think the 100 volunteer defense force personnel will make a difference in arresting the crime situation? DJ Ray out in Delaware says no. Thank you, DJ Ray.
Around Camo. You see why they're clamping around Camo now? That was a sign. They don't want the pum shots to get mixed up with the real volunteers. Because they can mix up the volunteers.
will confuse people into thinking that that particular woman
Has powers of a soldier.
has powers of a soldier.
Well, maybe she has powers of a soldier. I don't know. Certain soldiers.
Well, she could arrest certain men for sure.
That's so interesting. I saw a woman was arrested for, and it's probably not annoying behavior, but she pulled off the pants and pitched and pelted the police officer face.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Is that the one when she was in the car?
Yes.
And she looked like she could have beat the policeman.
Bring it to the police officer face. Look the camel, take it. Since you want camel.
She's the one who looked like she could beat the policeman.
If you are interpreted as that, yes.
No, that's how she looked.
You're not far off your interpretation.
That's how she looked.
Mm-hmm. But she bring it in the officer face.
Oh my God.
Okay?
She was the one who saying you take my tides?
Yeah. You think it's easy?
Trinidad have too much color sometimes, you know. Too much colorful moments. Oh my God.
Do you think the 100 volunteer defense force personnel will make a difference in arresting the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago? Yes or no? Send us a message via YouTube or Facebook, or give us a call. Touch our tones at 222-8255. Toll free. North Americans, 866-525-1099.
Touch our tones.
Or do us cordless.
What says you? Do you think that those extra defense force personnel on the ground is going to make a difference between October 30th and February 29th, 2024? Like when all these murders happen, I wonder if it frustrates the Prime Minister.
I'm sure it does, because I mean it's an indictment of his government's tenure. So when people say, I don't think he cares, how could he not care? Because it's the most pressing issue facing the country. And in many people's estimation, it's a direct indictment on his government's performance.
Yeah.
You understand?
Does it frustrate the Commissioner of Police?
I'm sure it does.
Like when she gets in the she says, oh God, there are more murders. When
you hear him, it's like I'm sure it frustrates them. They're human. They're living here. Yeah. They have a vested interest here. Yeah. They can't be happy about it, you know?
Sexy San Fernando says yes to the poll. And she says, good morning to Sunny, long time.
And that's why I think it would be so magnanimous if we hear him come out, the Prime Minister, this morning and say, I am chairing the crime talks. I've changed my mind.
Whenever those talks will be held.
Well, I think they're up in the air now, because I'm predicting that if the opposition doesn't see the Prime Minister chairing, they're going to say, well, we ain't doing second fiddle or third fiddle.
We can't even get that off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
We can't even get the talks off the ground. Because they said the talks were coming right after the budget, but the budget done last week, Wednesday, debate. Today is Tuesday, heading to Wednesday again, so I know.
Carolyn says yes with zero tolerance.
You know, and Karen is saying about the keeping of the minister. I don't. Can I ask that question one day? If you think changing the Minister of National Security will make a difference, you understand? Well, that's a very politicized question. A politically loaded question, I should say. Congratulations to the thousands of UE students who graduated in all their faculties over 3 days of graduation. Congratulations to Dr. Heather Headley, who received an honorary degree from UE. Doctor of Letters degree from me for a contribution. For the degree, Dr. Alison Hines in Barbados, I think over the weekend also. You know, and all the young people who put their shoulders to the metal and worked hard for years and got their certificates, diplomas, undergrad, postgrad degrees, etc. Good for you. Keep it up. Just as the day we did in Miss Grand Cinema, we could be all right.
All right, as we head towards major news, you have a couple of seconds again before AV walks in with our major news.
Coming up after 7, we'll be talking to Rondell Fields. He was part of a panel discussion in Grenada yesterday for International Men's Day. And there's some interesting things they're doing to deal with the challenges men face in Grenada that we may learn from in Trinidad and Tobago. So he was part of that yesterday at 2 in the afternoon. You know, and yes, Karen, the parents are always a critical element, parents and guardians in those children's successes, or those young adults' successes. Always, you can always tell.
Yeah, you're so right with that. Pick up, food, lessons, extracurricular.
Just support and interest.
You know,
Support
support and interest.
I want to see you do well. I'm here for you. Not to tell some call me for the first Igonan party. Me and time with you this weekend at Tobago Carnival to go to me. See, I buy my costume early.
Yeah. Of course, I should tell you folks as well that the funeral for Helen Bagwansing will take place on Sunday morning at 11 at the, I can't remember.
It's Sunday morning. It's one of the Pentecostal churches, is it?
No, it's one in Tunapuna. I can't remember the name of it.
Is it the same one Dana Sita was interred at?
I'm not sure.
I don't think Catholic or Roman Catholic do funerals on Sundays. Richard?
No, she's Presbyterian.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so her funeral, and it's Sunday, so you know it's going to be huge. The wake last night was huge. You know, the boys brought up some nice old stories when we were growing up, and made us laugh for sure. All right, let's get into our 7 o'clock major news. AV St. Hill Bab is in on this, the last day of October, the 31st. Happy birthday, Richie Rich.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
President Christine Kangaloo calls out 100 Defense Force Reserve officers to lend support to police during the pre-Christmas Inter-Carnival 2024 season. A 5-year-old girl remains in critical condition at hospital after being left in a locked vehicle for 2 hours. Police investigate the case in which 3 men were murdered in Arima yesterday evening, and tributes continue to pour out for business icon Helen Bagwansing. Details in a moment. This is News 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril St. Bob. Good morning. President Christine Kangaloo has called 100 Defense Force Reserve officers to lend support to police during the pre-Christmas season into Carnival 2024. The move comes on the heels of this country recording 8 murders in 24 hours. The president issued the proclamation dated October 30th, 2023, stating that she has called members of the Volunteer Defense Force for a period of 123 days with effect from October 30th, 2023 to February 29th, 2024. The president's proclamation stated this is to strengthen the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force capability towards the fulfillment of operational support to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in the provision of a safe and secure environment during the pre-Christmas season to the 2024 Carnival period. Carnival is scheduled to take place on February 12th and 13th, so there will be heightened national security on the streets. A 5-year-old girl remains in critical condition at hospital after being left in a locked vehicle for 2 hours on Sunday. A female relative was expected to be questioned by police in connection with the incident. According to reports, the child's mother had left her at home in the care of a relative to attend a funeral at the Superior Seventh-day Adventist Church on Sunday. An initial police report stated that a female relative had agreed to take the woman's daughter and other children to the funeral. It said around 4 p.m., the 41-year-old mother saw her relative at the funeral. However, she did not see her daughter. When she asked the relative of her whereabouts, the relative said she left the child in the vehicle. The mother later found her child unconscious, covered in vomit and urine in the vehicle. The mother rushed her daughter to the Superior District Health Facility, where she was treated and transferred to the San Fernando General Hospital. She was then moved from the intensive care unit to the resuscitation room. A medical report obtained by police listed the doctor's findings of the child's condition as severe dehydration secondary to heat stroke, aspiration pneumonia, and hypoxic brain injury. Police are investigating the case in which 3 men were murdered in Arima yesterday evening. 57-year-old Andrew Rose, 30-year-old Lance Hill, and 46-year-old Troy Marcel Caldon were identified as the victims of the shooting. According to police, Police received a report of a shooting near the Lalaja Junction, Blanchisseuse Road, Arima, around 4:50 p.m. Arima Police and Northern Division Police visited the scene and found a burgundy Toyota Corolla on the side of the road with 3 bodies inside. Officers said Rose was slumped behind the driver's side seat. Hill was in the front passenger side seat, while Caldon was found in the back seat. The trio had gunshot wounds above their bodies. A district medical officer visited the scene and declared the men dead. Crime scene investigators found 25 spent 9mm shells at the scene. The business community says co-owner Bhagwan Singh's Hardware and Steel Industries Limited, Helen Bhagwan Singh, will always be remembered for her courage, bravery, passion, magnanimous personality, problem-solving, decision-making, and communication, risk-taking, an exemplar and role model in the sectors in which she was active. Mrs. Helen Bhagwan Singh reportedly passed away on Sunday night at the age of 83. She was inducted into the TNT Chambers Business Hall of Fame in November 2010. In 2011, she was bestowed with the country's highest national award, the Order of Trinidad and Tobago, in recognition of her outstanding community service. She was also conferred with an honorary Doctor of Laws from the University of the West Indies that same year. The Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce says it is deeply saddened by the loss of Helen Bhagwan Singh, whose pioneering spirit paved the way for countless others in the local business community. It said Mrs. Bhagwan Singh was known as a visionary leader and was thoroughly aware of the trends driving the international economic environment, adding that her superior analytical and problem-solving skills she was able to cut to the core of issues. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Government is seeking to increase the stock of state-owned properties which its ministries and agencies can occupy. This is in a bid to cut down its rental costs. The move will be done via building and acquiring properties. Minister of Public Administration Alison West told reporters at a news briefing held on Monday that the government is also seeking to establish a storage facility outside of Port of Spain to store excess paper as the process of digitalization continues.
When last I checked, we had 127 properties that we didn't have previous to the launch of the portal, and we are continuing to press to get more. Because as we get more, we have more options, and therefore we have more opportunity to bring the rent down. So we are pushing on that side. As we seek to improve the maintenance of state buildings, we think that in the long run, it is more efficient, more effective, more cost-effective to have property owned. We will continue to have a combination, but to have a higher stock of state-owned property for use by the ministries and agencies.
Minister West said the Property and Management Unit will also be restructured to ensure greater efficiency in terms of monitoring, proactive, strategic assessing, and auditing property use.
So we're seeking to put these documents on systems and then move the paper off so that we can reduce the amount of space that we actually need to occupy in and around Port of Spain, where real estate is expensive. And we are also seeking to restructure the property and management unit to make it a more active monitoring and auditing unit in respect of our real estate, to ensure that as ministries and agencies adjust in size, that we adjust the property to treat with it.
The fourth tranche of approved minister's permits granted to Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago who registered under the migrant registration framework will be ready for collection with effect from today. Issuing of the approved minister's permits will be conducted from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Enforcement Unit, 135 Henry Street, Port of Spain. Persons will be required to present their previously issued registration card to be updated and identification, passport, or cedula. Registrants will be advised on the ministry's website when further approvals are granted and collection periods are identified. Finally, here is weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy conditions are expected with few showers occurring. There's a medium chance of isolated afternoon heavy showers or thunderstorms favoring Trinidad. Tonight will be fair apart from a brief shower. Gusty winds and street or flash flooding may accompany heavy showers or thunderstorms. There is a yellow level hazardous seas alert that is presently in effect until 2 p.m. today. You can look out for a forecast maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius, both at Piarco International Airport and Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 28 degrees Celsius at both localities. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock. President Christine Kangaloo calls 100 Defense Force Reserve officers to lend support to police during the pre-Christmas to Carnival 2024 season. A 5-year-old girl remains in critical condition at hospital after being left in a hot, locked vehicle for 2 hours. Police investigate the murder of 3 men in Arima, and tributes continue to pour in for business icon Helen Bhagwan Singh. I'm Avril Sindel-Bab. That was News 2, 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon today and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you so much, Avril, for our major news. You join her again come 8 o'clock for our news brief. Let's take a look at what's happening on the highways and the byways. Come out to Maraval, out of Diego Martin, Long Circular Road itself, going up Lady Young Road. Of course, East West Corridor Main Road. You've got traffic from Tacarigua as you pass Macoya and Paja Road, heading straight towards San Juan. Ibis Gardens towards the southern main road in Curab. You've got traffic leaving Sugar Guanas on that main road towards Ibis Gardens. It is heavy this morning. All right, River Road is not too bad. San Fernando, just Golconda Connector Road, and leaving Couva, passing through Calcutta's towards Chase Village. You'll get some traffic, and Charlieville towards the interchange. You got some traffic there. All right. Let's see if we have any more votes here. Right, that's it, Jacqueline. Thank you so much. Good morning, Scorpion Pepper. Okay, let's get the results of our poll. Any more here? Let me just check. No. All right, so let's get the results of our morning poll where we asked you, do you think the 100 volunteer defense force personnel will make a difference in arresting the crime situation in our beloved Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, over the allotted time but we took the votes, we got 20 people voting. Of the 20, 12 of you said no, you do not think it's going to make a difference, and 8 of you said yes, you think it is going to make a difference. So 20 people in all voted in the allotted time for this poll. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, through our programming, and we'll give you the final results tomorrow morning, which will already be midweek.
Yeah, it'll be Hump Day Wednesday, first day of November tomorrow, as we head towards the Christmas. All right. Of course, we're expecting our guest to come on shortly, Mr. Rondell Fields. So he'll join us shortly. I don't think we need 100. I think we need more than that. This crime is so widespread. It's not only happening in the city centers, It's so widespread. One of the reasons why we moved out of QREP, the pet butler, was because people were being robbed on the road. That we have seen. People just walking like normal and people coming up to them and just grabbing their belongings and moving on. Wayne Joseph is asking, could someone please tell me who are the PM and the Minister of National Security, Ontario? If they were there in Montreal a couple of weeks back. Yeah. All right. You think it'll make a difference, Rich?
I want to hope so. I want to hope so. I always think more boots on the ground, so to speak, whether it be police or army, can assist because presence is important. And we generally see army sometimes. It's not new to see army people with police officers, and it always gives a certain level of strength when you see them together. So to me, there is nothing negative about adding it.
Yeah.
So if it's at least trying to make a difference, whether it will actually make a difference with these murders that seem, of course, very motivated by whatever is going on in the gang culture, I don't know. But certainly the presence can maybe deter people from, let's say, the opportunistic kind of crime, whether it be grabbing somebody's purse or that kind of opportunistic crime. Maybe it can make a difference with that. But if gangs are out to murder X or Y, I don't know. That's something that requires more of an intelligence unit gathering information and pursuing those gangs, dismantling them, and arresting people promptly after murders like that. Like after that murder in Belmont. Where the hell are you going in Belmont if you really have CCTV cameras that should be able to track that car and see where it's going? And there should be immediate response times to things like that.
Yeah.
I always talk about air support, but 4 people are murdered and it's like you just become another statistic. We don't know what's going to happen, whether they're going to be capable.
I can't remember the jurisdiction, but there's jurisdiction that they have a similar device on cars, like the radio tag license plates. So at any particular moment, there are scanners all over the place that just scan cars randomly that identify the registered owner, if there's a registered driver, etc. So when there's a crime committed and a car is used, because criminals do ride bicycles or donkeys, right? They always use a vehicle to get away or to get to the crime scene. They could pull back up the data and see, or randomly, if a car is scanned and it doesn't have the information, it's flagged. And if a car is used in a crime, they could flag and see who the owner is, where the car came from, where the car was before. They had some huge privacy issues with it, but they eventually got it passed because they weren't tracking you; they were scanning randomly. That's the way they got around the issue of privacy. Carolina, right, boy? We can't reach there now. We're only Trinidad and Tobago. We reached in 2052.
Yeah, not 40. You're being kind. You're being quite.
We Trinidad and Tobago. We shouldn't be compared to first world countries. We shouldn't aspire to be that. Anyway, I'm not seeing the guest log on yet still.
Yeah, as I said, Helen Bagwensing's funeral will take place on Sunday at the Aramayale, hope I pronounced that right, Presbyterian Church out in Tuna.
I think that's the same place Dina Sita Hall. His funeral took place.
And then from there, that's at 11, and then from there it goes to Waterloo for 2 o'clock, I think. Yeah. Then we can tell you.
222 222-825-5613-255. That's open the phones.
Yeah, got some calls coming through already. Lots of calls, actually. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Paul, so if I'm stating wrong, I'm stating wrong after Superintendent Alexander from Beyond the Tape. The spotters that they bought never worked. I think Superintendent Alexander has admitted that they weren't suitable for our terrain. That's the word he used, right? I'm paraphrasing. They weren't suitable for our terrain, so they never worked effectively. So money gone down the drain there.
So what are the spotters, the portable scanners you're talking about?
No, the shot spotters, right?
When they bought them?
Yeah, they were bought many years ago, but they were never used. They weren't suitable for our terrain. The scanners, by the admission of Ola Christopher, never worked. They yielded no results. I'm sure you could testify to that. I'm sure you heard that yourself too. They yielded no results until we had technical problems, and we're still spending $2 million a month for those two vehicles because they're still under contract. Money going down the drain again.
But why wouldn't the shot identifiers, shot spotters, suitable to our terrain? What is our terrain?
What I understand, because of the terrain of Lavantil, the hills, the houses and whatnot, it was never able to function effectively. That is the impression I got from what the superintendent said.
So it's only in Lavantil shots are fired?
Well, we have one. Lavantil was then the primary place that shots that they were getting shootings from. And you see, that question that you're asking me, which is a very good question, I only reach high school level. That is for the brainiacs like yourself and thing who went and do tertiary and post-tertiary education. Right? I ain't getting paid that high. Right? So I'm only articulating two of these situations where the TTPS has squandered money, waste money over technology that never yielded any results. Right? Reference the number plates, Paul. I will take it a stage further. We need to develop an app along with the RFID. We need to develop an app or the technology that matches your number plate to your vehicle. So should people take off a number plate from a vehicle and put it on another vehicle to do a crime, immediately it is flagged. This number plate is not for this vehicle. It belongs to accent, and it is on a TIDA. You understand? So we could zero into crimes after it happens, but before something worse happens. You understand? Because the only reason you would change a number plate on the vehicle is because you have nefarious intent. Right? Marlon Hopkinson made a very valuable point last night. Rare, but he did. Where the police keep asking anybody with information, please call 555. And it seems that the only way police are able to detect or solve crime is if somebody come and say something. And Marlon Hopkinson said, in first world countries, police are using other things to get the information, except apart from eyewitness testimony.
Well, eyewitness testimony is generally considered unreliable and unstable.
Exactly. They were able to identify a bomber in a marathon in Spain based on pure video evidence. And so many other crimes are able to...
What's the operative word there?
Well, let me put the operative word in. Pure working video evidence.
Okay, right, okay.
Right?
You can't get video working.
Correct.
We allow 700 CCTV cameras to go down over a period of 7 years or 8 years.
The conversation we not have
we don't know. Like we don't know that if you put up a camera in open air, you have to maintain it. Like we don't know that. That is beyond us as a country. We have to be America and the UK to figure out that.
But Paul, my home surveillance system, I am aware I need to buy extra cameras and put them down because every 2 or 3 years, one will just stop showing. That is my home video camera system. People who getting paid millions of dollars, I'm sure, and I was going there. I'm sure when we go to when we do the inquiry as to how much these companies getting paid for these cameras, it's into the tens of millions of dollars. And you mean to tell me they don't know they need replacement cameras every 6 months or every however long? They don't need your service? Come on, man. We need to do better, right?
You know what amazes me is that all of this that we're talking about this morning, and Paul and Lincoln and stuff, it's low-hanging fruit in terms of implementing processes.
Low-hanging fruit.
You have a ridiculous crime situation, and there is no urgency, seemingly. Well, there has been none because it has been allowed to exist for several years in a state that does not contribute effectively in the fight. I try to choose my words correctly.
Let me break it down to layman term for you, Richard. 3 or 4 people come out of a car with automatic weapons this weekend and gunned down 4 people in Belmont. And this morning or yesterday, they never had Belmont cordoned off. They never had Port of Spain cordoned. There was no urgent response from the PTPS to say, hey, we upset up. You asked a question that's a very important question. Are the authorities upset when they hear these murders? And you don't get that feeling of anger from you get it from you and from me and from John Public, but from the TTPS as an organization, you don't get that feeling of, what the hell? Let me do something about this. Let me react to this. You don't get a feeling of wanting to do something about it.
I can't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Hear what I'm saying? I'm sure individual police are upset because when I was doing patrols, it used to hurt me that we just passed somewhere and half an hour later, somebody gets shot up. We just passed. It used to hurt me as an individual. But I'm saying as an organization, we don't feel that the police care or is doing anything or choosing to do anything about getting these. This man ran out of a car with an automatic weapon, what seems to be an AR-15, and was gun ho, was crazy. He needed to kill everybody on that scene. Thank God the old man crossed the street and get away with his life. But this is craziness that's going on in this country. I'll leave it there, gentlemen. Have a great morning.
Yeah, it is crazy. And all of and that video went viral. And how many young people are seeing that viral as a representation of Trinidad and Tobago now? And that's going across. Senior Trinidadians are seeing that. Younger Trinidadians are seeing that. The diaspora is seeing that video because that video went around at the speed of light.
Yeah, it did.
And the callousness of it. And in Belmont, they have the biggest roads on the planet. And there is no air response. If you had an air response, let's say sited at the Queen's Park Savannah, which is an obvious place to meet a site and air response unit, at least one. But we can't afford air support units that would have tracked that vehicle and held those guys accountable. So they've disappeared into the night, and we don't know what. We don't know what.
You compare the US and the UK.
It's upsetting.
It is. It is very upsetting. There's a question that I don't know. This guy in the white shirt, is it that he put up his hand begging for his life, or did he have a weapon?
I was looking at that. I do believe, yeah.
I think he was begging for his life, actually.
Yeah. And what they do? They jump back in the car and probably giggle. Go back to wherever they came from and drink their alcohol and I don't know. That's
So you have to ask yourself the question: How did these young men get to the point where they feel that that's a viable way of life? That to them, that's a viable way of living to them, and they will get up this morning and have breakfast, and probably plan their next escapade for the weekend, and probably go a party and lime or boat ride or whatever it is they do. You understand? And to them, that's a viable way of life. It is astounding to me that your upbringing brought you to that. You know, it brought you to that. What in your upbringing failed so much that is a decision that you made for your life? That there's I guess, and it's incremental because you start with stealing $5, then you steal something in a store, and then it escalates into this. That you are operating, that's clearly a gang because there's more than one person operating to commit a crime. You understand? Probably part of a wider gang. And what is the motive for this? What is it? Is it retaliation? Is it? What is it? What is what, you know?
Yeah. Good morning, caller. Hello.
Very bad connection. If you call back, it's a very bad
All right. Yeah, we're not hearing you at all. Try redial and see what happens there.
Yeah, and as I said before, in other jurisdictions, you would see the head of the police division come and say, particularly in the light of the 8 murders in the last 48 or so hours, that the Belmont murder, this is information we have. These are the leads we have. If there's any information you can call this number, but we are working on it. The Super Farm Diego Martin murder, this is information we have, and now the Blanche shares. But I guess tomorrow is the police admin presser, so they'll talk about it, and then you won't see the commissioner.
No.
Because then the media will have to ask questions, and that's not an option apparently these days.
Yeah. All right. He called back. So good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm calling from Orlando. How do you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now, Orlando. Thank you. Morning.
Yeah, apparently some force is trying to stop me from speaking to you guys.
Yeah.
So,
all right. The force is with you now.
Yes, Richard, to answer that question, you know, I do 3 days a month. I do counseling at the prison here in Orlando. All right. And let me tell you something, how they think. This is what they have told me. Whenever, and there are more criminals in America than Trinidad, the whole population of Trinidad. All right? So the thing is, so a criminal is a criminal no matter where you are. But the main thing I've heard from all of them that I've spoken to, there's a power they feel when they have a gun in their hands. They become lawless. They don't care. They feel this power. This is why if you point a gun at them, they know the damage that can be done from a gun. So when you have it in your hands, they become so powerful. They don't care. I had that video on my phone. It went all over the world, right? And from what I've noticed, they didn't even stop to look for the person that they came for. They just kill everybody in front of them. You know? So they're merciless, and you can see they enjoy the power. This thing was letting off. So it's a matter of how they think, and they don't have no value for life.
None
and
at
they
all.
have these guns in their hands. You know? So, but I have a question. I know Trinidad have a lot of helicopters. Don't they have police helicopter patrol at night?
Oh. They have a couple of helicopters. We had 4 at one time.
I see, but they're all paid for, so they're still there. But what I'm getting at, they have all these helicopters, They
I
have
don't know that I don't know that we have an air support unit anymore. You know,
The air guard unit.
there was an air support unit initially, and they closed it down because they said it was
so
expensive.
these are the errors these politicians make, and these are the kind of bad decisions. You see, they should back up. The helicopters patrol the night. They're quiet helicopters for patrolling at night, and they all have infrared where they can see as far as 1,000 feet or 1,500 feet and see a person on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
See the number plate for a car. They have all these things available to them.
The technology is
It's not
there.
like, oh yeah, it's there. In America here, they track you down quick. They, as a matter of fact, in the I-95 going from here to Miami, they show you signs it's being patrolled by the air. You know, airplane, small plane.
Mm-hmm.
They have these type of cameras that they're very high powered infrared. As they can, as I said, your number plate. They can pick up your number plate from that height.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I think the government needs to do better than this. They need to do better and get security serious. And they should pass a law that when they have cameras, by law, to maintain these things, even if doing their job, they get charged. You see, you're playing with national security.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that they have cameras, CCTV cameras up, and it's not being maintained. What are they doing?
Half of them going down. If 100 went down, I say, okay, you're going to have wear and tear. You're going to have some that need to be replaced out of 1,700. You don't expect to be able to replace to repair all or maintain all.
Do you know in some states in America, if you don't maintain the camera, then any crime that takes place under that area, you can be charged for it. You can be held accountable. That means you partake in it. You understand? This is serious stuff, and people losing their lives. And I think the government needs to wake up. All right, gentlemen, have a good morning. I'm listening to you guys.
All right, Orlando, thank you so much for your contribution. Good morning, caller.
Yeah.
Morning.
Morning, and the rest of the team. Yeah, no, I hear everybody talking about that thing, right? But when we have to maintain things, like they tell you, when you're talking architecture, they say a building, 10% of the cost of the building is your maintenance. You must have that. Then when you get everything, you get a maintenance situation given to you, how to maintain the building, how to maintain the infrastructure. You have to do this every so often. Look. But the question is, why, when you all interviewed Jacob, the last commissioner there, he said they just implemented a management policy into the police service. The CJ just recently said, he needs public sector reform because some of the technocratic and bureaucratic rules holding his office back. So why are we not talking about this thing called public sector reform? What it will, we just sidestepping the issue. And I think when we're doing that, we obviously result. It's a maintenance thing with the cars, the police cars. It's how do you hold errand police accountable? David West asked for more remit to investigate the unexplained wealth. Why is he not getting it? There's obviously it's a problem in productivity. Went to all the meetings I go to, it's always about productivity. Yeah, people not imaginative, it's not innovative. They don't speak, you get shut down. People hold you, this one not being held accountable. Systems are not working to hold the machinery together. Then we're talking about helicopters. But to put a helicopter up in the air is something like some 20, 30,000 just to lift it off the ground.
But while I understand that, I don't think that cost in the context of holding the 4 men who committed that heinous act in Belmont is an issue.
Well,
if the helicopter costing $50,000-$30,000 going up in the air results in the apprehension of those men, it's not an issue.
Well, you're saying it's not an issue, but there's no helicopter. So
but that's the first thing. There's no helicopter, right, for whatever reason.
So when we ask for the helicopter, why isn't the helicopter? It was there before. Now it's not there because there's an issue.
Politics.
Right. So there's an issue in the politics, and there's an issue in the thing. So it is an issue. So when we say it's not an issue, we want it. we want it, and there are many other ways we can do it. But there's always an issue around who gets it, why it was given, how it reached there, and then it just sits there because the systems around it to hold it accountable is not working, and it's not being improved on, and that's public sector reform. And nobody in Trinidad and Tobago is not talking about public sector reform. And I don't know why nobody not talking about it, because
I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of people bring up public sector reform all the time. The problem is it's not actually moving ahead.
Well, I think the public should get to know what it really means to go through a public sector reform, because I think public sector reform will encapsulate unions.
Just yesterday, the Minister of Public Administration talked about, she said, quote unquote, one of the newspaper articles this morning is saying, public sector reform coming. I don't know. Okay. That is the longest. Foreplay I ever had in my life. That is foreplay like it will never reach the end of the foreplay. It's coming long.
Right, yeah. And I think the public need to know how at least they should have a conversation, how this thing will look. Because when they come and bring it, it will be some half-washed thing. Because you can never do public sector reform if you don't have the opposition on your side, the union, and all those civil society groups that do hold the thing. People like what Ralph Maraj did. Those are things holding people accountable. What happened to the judge? That's a crazy kind of situation when the system is just could go and jack up a person in a thing, and then the real process. Then the lady in the car park with the polsec, all those things, our systems, everything interference. All right, well,
thank you. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sonny here again.
Yeah, pal.
We're talking about crime and corruption at state, and I know last week and Monday we were talking about customs. Where anybody, sometimes they do assessment of the containers at the port, and then sometimes they allow the containers to go to the destination, and the custom officer comes to that destination. Last week I happened with work. We had two. The same customer officer came with two different vehicles, two high-end SUVs. And I was like, he's a government worker. How is he able to afford a Lexus SUV? And then the next 2 days after, he came with a BMW SUV. How is that possible? And I don't understand you remember they had this thing where they would follow people who work in the money, and if they can't explain the wealth, whatever, and it looks like it never took off. I actually know someone who was working in government service, and this long time ago, and he took the custom exam and he transferred to the customs. And where he lived, it was his father's house. It was an upstairs and downstairs wooden house. And they had a lot of land next to it. And within 5 years, he was able to build a concrete house, broke down the wooden house, and build a second house. And driving two SUVs, RAV4s or whatever. This is more than 15 years ago. And one group of government workers you don't ever see protesting is customs and licensing officers. You never hear them complaining for increased wages or anything like that. And I mean, it's so blatant, it's in our eyes. It's in our eyes. All government workers could afford $1 million, $2 million vehicles.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
All right. Thank you, Sonny. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, morning.
Morning. I just made a call to get my facts straight. So a caller called and said, well, many people, the consensus seems to be why only 100 reserve? And I just made a call to confirm 100 reserves is a third of the reserve strength. Eh? The reserve strength is literally 300 and maybe 50.
What is the reserve? What is the reserve as opposed to the normal defense force personnel? Maybe you should tell us that first.
All right. So the regular defense force is permanent people attached to the defense force, people permanently hired with the regiment.
Mm-hmm.
The reserve is exactly that. It is volunteers who have their jobs somewhere else but want to be a part of the defense force. So they volunteer.
They were part of the defense force, or they trained along the same lines as the defense force?
Some of them were because they were previously in the defense force. They retire and they now transfer to the reserve to get a little extra salary, right? But a lot of them are young people or people from 25 to older, 25 to 35, who want to serve. They're too old to join the regiment, so they contribute their service to the reserve, right? Now, what I understand is part of the problem is when, although the president has called out 100, you would find some of these private businesses doesn't buy into sending us, releasing their employees with pay to serve. So you find the president saying 100 people, but they may not get 100 people because 100 people may not be able to leave their jobs and go back to it when after the 2 months period is over. So there's a lot of logistical issues that we are not aware of.
So right? My other question then comes because the Minister of National Security keeps saying that it's not uncommon for police to work with TT Defense Force. Is it that this is an addition to the TT Defense Force personnel that are already working with police on operations? So this is additionally, I'm presuming now.
What used to happen in my time is that when they call out the reserve will come out and they would control the barricade in the camps. And the trained soldiers now, who would normally do the barricade, who have more experience on the streets, would go out on the streets and join the patrols with the police.
Understood.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now, it might spill over that some of the reserve actually goes out and do patrols too. But they would primarily hold on the barricade, might be the President Guard, Prime Minister Guard, and the trained soldiers comes out and works on the street with the police. So it is not, yes, it is not. It is not that it is not uncommon. It is outside of a state of emergency. It is the only way soldiers go on patrols out there.
All right,
okay?
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, me again, Steve. Just wanted to mention that there's a friend, and she went into the department in a state agency. Every project that was there, all was corrupted, and nepotism and who doing this. None of it was there. The only ones that were not held, but that was running kind of smoothly, was the ones that had oversight and was in collaboration with the University of West Indies. Every single other project that didn't have that oversight was corrupted. In not the sense that but farm out to this one doing that, who's supposed to be running the project, not running it because they give it to the and all those things. And I just wanted to mention that because those are the kind of things that are going on in every state agency, every single state agency that's going on in Trinidad, down to even the light poles they're sticking in the ground, and how that's been farmed out and dealt with. So I just wanted to oversight is a very important thing. And if your oversight weak, your project's weak, and then you don't get the delivery, and we don't get the data and the proper data. They ain't gonna talk about the reporting and the lack of reporting and the lack of poor reporting, and that's what they consider good reporting, and what and then that going in and not going into our central statistics data. So a lot of the things that we get in as a developed country It's below par level. And we consider it, yes, yeah, and we are at a really bad level when you listen to the professionals, the ones who are doing the work, and when they give you the information, because being a middle class person in Trinidad and Tobago affords that privilege of sitting down with some of the best and brightest people around you. People who doing and people working, and when they share the kind of sheer lunacy in the system, we have work to do, and we have work to build.
All right.
And
Thanks,
yeah,
Dean.
yeah.
All righty. Good morning. Oh. Good morning. Hello.
Hey, morning, brethren.
Morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Wendell, Richard, everybody, morning. Sometimes I sit down and listen conversation, and I mean, like, Professor Selwyn Ryan just come to my mind, Morgan Job, I mean, like, a sister like Cummings, criminologist, and Deisha Ryan, Professor Deisha Ryan, right? And we have to find out, we have to ask ourselves, where this thing really started. Because that happened last night. A young man who gave a morning just and he have a gun and one shoot down people. He have a text you sow to the wind and you reap a whirlwind. You understand? Things was going so a long while in this country. That's why I could listen to Morgan Job 50 years back was talking about these things. And nobody wasn't paying no heed towards the whole situation. So now we end up reaping certain things now, and we try to pull it back when the horse run out the stable and gone. So we have to get a bitter remedy to deal with that now, which nobody in Trinidad will like. You understand? You got to look, for instance, I hear they talking about the helicopters. I know a long time, them helicopter down and mash up long time. I have friends who could Egar. Is it a helicopter? You understand? But a prime minister customize a helicopter. You understand what's going on? I have friends working in the Coast Guard. They say, it's a no boat on the Coast Guard, and they get some boat from China, they have no gun on it. Cameras on the road. I see they put up cameras, they put up a generator, all right, to see more all about generator. It's in bush. Nobody maintaining nothing. The Prime Minister arguing and making noise there. $55 million gone in our building, and nobody occupy the building. And we hear any corruption. We used to go and say the kind of money passed through Trinidad and Tobago that was corruptly disappeared. It's about $1 billion. Who the whole come from over that thing? And then we have no camera, we have no helicopter, we have nothing, we have this, we have that. So I don't know what we do. Government come, government go. And it's the same thing over and over. So brother, I don't know. I don't know what the remedy for what going on in this country right now. I hear they talking about the big army on the road and they want to put army and things. Brother, I really don't know. I don't have the answer for this thing. But when the thing was running on the horse, I know people who went USC and USC who is criminal, they educated, they come from good family, and they decide to change, they decide to go a certain way, and the parents can deal with them. So I don't know where we're going and what will happen. I don't know. What people have to do in this country is try to be vigilant, be watchful, and try to protect themselves and their family outside here. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Patrick.
Well, technology is part of it. All of these problems are solvable because there are countries that have had crime situations and they got a handle on it. So they are solvable, but we need the kind of resources that go after it, whether it be technological and processes, whether it be holding rogues accountable. If you don't have the capacity to buy helicopters, find another way. Have I don't know, just thinking off the top of my head, because I know the police office, when we had spoken to McDonald Jacob at the time, he says, oh, they don't need helicopters, they have drones. Then have certain drone command points. From the time gunshots are heard, you deploy drones that are tracking vehicles or whatever it is. You have to have the RFID plates to track vehicles. You have to have all of those things. You have to have a network. We are a small space. Granted, I mean, we have some terrain to navigate because we are very mountainous in certain regions, but we are still a small space. And road and cars must travel on road. We could be talking about this 5 years from now. Hopefully not.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully not, because
Hopefully
we've had
not.
these kinds of conversations for years, and we're always talking about crime. It is
Why we were
nauseating.
talking about it 5 years ago and said we'll be talking about it 5 years from now, 5 years ago. Why were we talking about it 5 years from now?
Well, hopefully we're not talking about it 5 years from now. That hopefully we get a handle on it, but it's nauseating.
You see?
Yeah. Morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen. I don't think they could bring out 200 volunteers. It will do nothing to sort with concerning this crime. The problem is our laws are not being enforced. Don't care who you bring, because you can't tell me a simple thing. I keep hearing, and guys, more than 2 years now before COVID, this, and he sounds like an elderly gentleman, call him talking about noise from in his neighborhood, and the police, they're powerless to do anything. How is that? It frightens me when this is something that is against the law. It's on the law books, and the police can't deal with that. How they're dealing with home invasion and all this robbery and killing. That scares the living daylight out of me. Oh God, noise pollution. Somebody making noise in a neighborhood and nobody could do. I don't know how them would bro people this make out loud. Richard, I want to ask you something. 2 people get in a fight. One dies. The other one is not arrested. And you are hearing the waiting. What they're going to do an inquest? Why is that before the person is charged?
Well, anytime there's an unusual death, they have to do an inquest.
Oh, they have to do.
To determine the actual cause of death.
Cause of death. So that is the delay that the person is not arrested.
And then they will look at it. They will look at. Okay. I mean, somebody died, so I mean, it could be. I don't want to say it's murder. It could be manslaughter. It could be. It could be the person who died in the start of the fight and it was a self-defense situation. Okay. You have all sorts of ramifications in law that the police will have to look at.
Thank you very much for your legal information. You all have a blessed day. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much. I take final caller. Short one. Good morning.
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 Good morning.
The water situation in Derby, La Florissant, is not getting better.
Don't start me on WhatsApp, madam. Do not start me on WhatsApp.
We are at La Florissant Phase 3, to be exact. Delia Crescent, everybody getting the water, but because we're on a hill, we're not getting the water. And this is more than 6 weeks or so we haven't had water. I have 2 challenges.
Can you send that to WhatsApp through your people in WhatsApp?
Sorry?
No, asking Steve to send it to some people in WhatsApp. Give your address again.
Delia Crescent, La Florissant, Phase 1, Derby. There's La Florissant.
Yeah. I don't know what is going on.
Other neighbors getting. We are on a schedule now for two days a week. And imagine that 6 weeks they have done this and we have not had water. People are leaving and going by relatives because
you can't survive with that.
No, it's upsetting. And even in Central Arima, there is something going on with water that is annoying. And one of the guys that they used to have in the Arima area, because Wasa had a team, they moved him. He was accessible. He would reach out to you. Are your tanks getting filled? Do you have water in the line? Give me some feedback. He would do that at all hours because he was very accessible. They changed him. But I hear they say he was showing up other people. That's why they moved him. I don't know if that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care if he showed up other people. He was effective. He was accessible
We
in the
have a
area.
request for water from water. One Saturday, the guy said he can't remember the address, he lost and all. So we have
You know,
never even get the truck going. Let me tell you, to me, simple thing as trying to solve crime, you could barely give people water, and we're trying to solve crime. And I know they're not related, but what I'm saying is that simple thing as this, we can't do
It kind of
forward
related, you know, because I understand your frustration. Systems. And this
What is your last name, Yam?
And you know what is upsetting to me about it in the Arima area? This is a multi-generational problem. Multi-generational.
To add insult to injury, I am constructing a property, and we've had to apply to WASA 2 years since the pandemic, 2 years, and they cannot give us a connection. As a matter of fact, they lost all our original documents. The days when you have to drop your stuff in the box, the pandemic days, 2 years, and every time I call WASA, somebody telling you something else, they're sending you to a different department. The last I heard is that we have to come in and reapply because they don't know we have never applied. And everybody tells you 2 years I'm waiting on a water connection.
Wow.
This is something is wrong with our country and how they deal with citizens. Something, if you don't have a name that somebody knows, to hell was with you. This country is frustrating to the small person. Frustrating.
Yeah, just give me a last name again.
My last name is Winston. But we are renting, so our water stuff is on the landlord.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's Dabadi, right?
Yes, La Florida and Davide.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
You'll have a great day. Be safe out there. Please be safe. See you tomorrow, God willing. Have a great day.
Yeah, and that's why you need to laugh, and that's why you need to come to theater this weekend at Napa, Port of Spain. We are finally in Port of Spain with Bacchanal Bubble and Bad Behavior at Napa on Saturday at 8:30 and Sunday at 6:30. The Napa box office is open from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Everywhere has tickets. Electronics in Arima, Creme Fresh in Brentwood Mall in Chagonas, Jabili Rawe in Tunapuna, and Tony's Florals in Valpark Shopping Plaza, K-Squared Fashion in Eastgate and West Mall. All have tickets. Chanflair Auto Services and Electronics Arima, in case I forgot them. I feel like I'm missing out somebody, but I'm not sure. But anyway, I think that's a lot of the outlets there. You can get all of the information you require on RSRR Productions Theater page. You should not miss Bacchanal Bubble and Bad Behavior. It is hilarious. Some people are calling it the comedy event of the year. That's what somebody had said, so we used it in our ad. I mean, some people says it's the best they've seen in a while, best that they have seen for the year, certainly. So you should come out and see Bacchanal Bubble and Bad Behavior and give yourself some relief with laughter. Have a great day, whatever you do on this Tuesday morning, and speak to you.